Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Virtue Grace here. If you're coming by for the first time, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. Consider clicking the subscribe button and the bell beside it just so you don't miss out on any uploads when I put them up. Today I'm here to say a word about the attacks on Africans in South Africa, and particularly the attacks on Nigerians in South Africa, because that is where I feel pained the most, and that is where I feel I have um, much to say about. So, a few days ago, the news broke about attacks on blacks and Nigerians in particular in South Africa by disgruntled South Africans who feel their jobs and source of livelihood have been taken over by black foreigners and especially Nigerians. I heard this with utmost sadness, and to say I was distraught ever since the news broke is saying the least, for want of a better word. And that's because Africa belongs to every one of us. We are Africans. This is the only continent we can lay claim to as ours, as a black people. So to hear that other Africans have risen and taken up weapons against other Africans just to drive home a point that their source of livelihoods are being taken over or have been taken over is saddening, is disheartening. Really, I I feel so pressed to say something about it because I feel every one of us has a duty to push for the peace and the prosperity of Africa as the only continent we have. That is why I'm doing this video today. Call it xenophobia, call it self-hate, whatever name you want to call it. It is wrong, and we must speak the truth to ourselves, the bitter truth. It is wrong for us to take up arms against one another for whatever reason. Life and life is supreme, right? Life is supreme, and that is what we should all aim at preserving in every situation, over and above every other sentiment, over and above every other um, divides we might have as a people. Now, I don't want to dwell on history so much. There has been so much that has been said about how much Nigeria contributed towards the liberation of South Africa during the apartheid struggle, all the money, the monetary contributions, the diplomatic contributions, and all of those. I don't want to delve into that. It's obvious. We have failed to honor history. We have failed to uphold history. So there is no point flogging it so much. What we should be focused on at the moment is how to forge a way forward. How to forge a way forward for the peace and prosperity of Africa. That is what I'm here to talk about. Now, I understand the plight of South Africa and the disgruntled South Africans in particular, because we know what abuse does to people. South Africa is a country that has experienced several years of oppression, several years of inequality, several years of injustice. I understand, as a Nigerian, I understand the plight of South Africans. The nation is experiencing what I prefer to call piety, post-apartheid trauma. You know what trauma does, how it leads to anger, distress, bitterness, and all. It is understandable. I understand it. So I'm not going to flog that as well. We have to find a way to deal with it. Now, if we look at the situation of South Africa is technically free from apartheid, technically free from oppression. But in reality, South Africa still is under slavery, and in this context, economic slavery. Just Google, take a look at the top 10 richest people in South Africa. What you are going to find I don't want to say will surprise you, because that's the obvious reality. There's just one black man. And this says a lot about the economic power of that country. Who controls the economic power of South Africa? Google that list and then look at the reality. You will have the answer for yourself. Just one black person among the top 10 richest persons in South Africa, a nation that has the black majority. Yet, the wealth and the economic power, the means of production of that country still lies in the hands of the white minority in that country. Yet my South African brothers and sisters feel that the enemy is the black foreign nationals in that country who also try to earn a living out of menial jobs, out of petty businesses. So you feel disgruntled, you go ahead to kill your fellow blacks, you set their shops ablaze and loot them, and you feel that is the solution to the problem. I feel that is not it. I feel in this case, we are avoiding the enemy. One, South Africans, you've not identified your true enemy, either for fear or ignorance. It's either the two. It's either you are ignorant of who your true enemy is, or you are afraid to name your enemy and to deal decisively with your enemy. Look deep again. Look within your country and you'll find who your true enemy is. And until you deal with that true enemy, every other thing you do is only going to self-sabotage you and only end up winning the hatred and the disapproval of your fellow Africans. In addition to the fact that my South African brothers and sisters have failed to name and deal with the enemy, is the fact that the leadership of South Africa has failed the people. Now let's be honest, that's the reality. The leadership of South Africa has failed the people. So rather than own up to their failure, they prefer to push forth a false narrative that plays on the sentiment and the psyche of the people to make them believe that their enemies are the black nationals, the foreign black nationals in that country, rather than own up to their own failure. No, the black nationals in your country are not the problem. The leadership of your country has failed you. They have failed to provide jobs to cater to the mass unemployment situation. They have failed to create wealth to deal with the poverty situation. They have failed to provide social justice to you. So rather than own up to their failure, they prefer to push forth this false narrative to distract you from the reality and to distract you from holding them to account. They are your problem. Demand accountability from them. Where are the jobs they've created for you? Okay, you say that the other black nationals are taking up your jobs. But then when you take up arms, you go forth to burn shops and loot those shops. Shops that have been set up by your fellow blacks, your fellow Africans who have moved to your country to a living out for themselves. Are those the jobs you are claiming they've taken from you? Certainly not. Wake up, because this is the sad reality of Africa. Our leadership has for years fed us these false narratives to distract us from holding them to account. It's time we woke up. It's time we shook off this veil off our eyes and demanded justice, social justice and accountability from the leaders you have elected, the leaders you have put in place to serve us, because that is their primary responsibility, to serve us. And when they fail us, it is our responsibility to hold them to account, not to take up arms against one another. We are not each other's problem. This brings me to the question of Ubuntu, our African philosophy of humanity, of our collective humanity, of our collectivity as a people. The fact that I am because you are. The fact that you have my back and I have your back. Where has gone that principle? Let's ask ourselves this question and give the honest answer to it. Let's uphold this African principle of Ubuntu. You are because I am. It was this philosophy of Ubuntu that made us unite as one to fight the oppressor to get to where we are today. The fact that South Africa was crying and Nigeria saw that my brother is weeping, I have to fight. I have to support my brother. I have to reach out a hand to hold my brother and pull my brother out of this predicament. That was the reason for the aid that was pushed to South Africa. The fact that when one bleeds, I bleed. The fact that we share collective humanity as a black nation. That is the philosophy of Ubuntu. If I am not, you are not. If I am, you are. That is what makes for our collectivity. That's what makes for our unity and progress as a people. Not taking arms and burning down shops, killing and maiming fellow blacks. You set a fellow brother on fire and gleefully watch them agonize into eternity. What? What has happened to us as a people? No, this is not right. We have to say no to this. It is not right. It is not right. No reason whatsoever justifies killing another black or another human being. No reason whatsoever. Have we failed to explore the different opportunities, the different strategies we have to deal with our issues, such as diplomacy? Have we exhausted all our options? Taking up weapons is never and will never be the solution to our problems. Where I come from, the Benue people, we have the philosophy of Ayatutu Kauno. When you hear Ayatutu Kauno, we say Kase. It is us. Where one cries, we cry. Where one rejoices, we rejoice. Not killing one another, not destroying one another. No, Africa will not move forward if we continue on this trajectory. Africa will never get to where we want it to be if we continue with this narrative. We need to do away with it and face our issues decisively. Let's address the problems. We are not our own problem. The failure of our leadership and our governments is our problem. Chinua Achebe once said that when a man invites his kinsmen to his house for dinner, it is not because there is no food in his kinsman's house, but because it is good for brothers to dwell together. It is good for him to do so. Yes, it's important for us to be united as a people, because in unity is progress, in unity is prosperity, in unity is advancement. And until we are united, we'll constantly relinquish our power to our oppressors to perpetrate inequality and social injustice. Let's think about this. Let's think about this and let it guide us. Unity of purpose is what we need as a people to forge a path of prosperity for this continent, Africa. Now that said, I want to talk to Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria, we have a problem. There is a problem in this country. Let's be honest. And we cannot and will not continually turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to the fact that we have issues that need to be addressed in this country. Nigeria is a blessed country. We have everything we need as a people to live as a prosperous nation and to be envied. But why is it that Nigeria has become an object of ridicule? Constant ridicule from all over the world. It is today Nigeria this, Nigeria that, Nigeria for all the wrong reasons. Why? We need to address our issues as a people. We can't continue to get treated with indignity the world over. No, we're a glorious people. We know what our problems are. We keep naming our problems, so we're not dealing with our problems. So the result is disillusionment, poverty, unemployment, name them in this country. So people are pressed with very limited options. The next thing is the exit route out of this country. People find themselves in countries where they are not welcome. People find themselves in places that they are perceived as threats, unwelcome. You hear that Nigerian has been killed here, a Nigerian has been deported, a Nigerian has been executed, a Nigerian has been this, that. I'm tired. Are we not tired as a people? Why can't we fix this country? In 2014, there was a national confab, which, one of the recommendations from that confab was the fact that Nigeria needs restructuring. We don't say anything about it anymore. But we spent millions of naira hosting that confab. Restructuring in its simplest term is bringing government as close to the grassroots as possible. This way, we'll push for regional prosperity, because all the different regions we have to harness and maximize the resources within their domains for the progress of their people, for job creation, to address poverty. That is the way forward. Let's decentralize the control from the central government, from the federal government, and relinquish some power to the regions, to the states. Let there be regional progress. Let there be regional advancement. Let's harness the resources in our different regions to push for the development and advancement of these regions. But no, nobody says it. For the obvious reasons, the minute elite benefiting from the gains of this present system will not let restructuring happen, because we know the result of it. But no, they are not going to have it, because they obviously do not have our interests at heart. They push for the agenda that benefits them more. We have to wake up. Let's push for the implementation of restructuring. It might take a while for us to get to where we want to be, but eventually we'll get there if we are willing to sacrifice. If this is done, we will not have the need to leave this country to go to places that we are not welcome. Let's stay in this country. This is the only country we can lay claim to as ours, Nigeria. We will not need to go anywhere and be perceived as threat because we are resilient people. We are prosperous. We are smart people. Let's harness our natural resources. Let's harness our human resources and push for the progress of this country. The truth is, Nigerians break records on a daily basis. On international level, we break records. Let's come back and harness these skills in this country and advance this country forward. We also need to deal with the issue of the federal character because that has not benefited us. Let's push for a public service that places merit above regional sentiment. Let the best man with the best skills be offered a seat at the table. We need the progress of this country, not regional sentiments. Let the best person perform. You see qualified people denied seat at the table because they are not from this part of Nigeria, because this one is from this part of Nigeria, so it is a turn of this one. When they are inept, obviously inept. We can't continue like this. Let's give the best people the seat at the table. All we want is the progress of this country. All we want is the prosperity of this country. What do we have to lose? At the end of the day, we'll all benefit. Leadership is the problem, the obvious problem of this country. We do not have leadership. Very inept, incompetent. You hear that a Nigerian has been killed, and it takes you forever to react. It takes you forever to respond. No, this is not the kind of leadership Nigeria deserves. As a giant of Africa, did I just mention giant of Africa? We have become the dwarf. Let nobody deceive us. We have become the dwarf of Africa. Because as the giant of Africa, if we are truly the giant, we should provide exemplary leadership, competent leadership that will push not just this country forward, but the continent as a whole forward. But no, we have inept, incompetent leaders. Corruption is another problem. The obvious one, we know it. But until we deal with these issues, we can't move forward. Corruption, looting of public treasury. Today you hear that this one has stolen this amount of money. A snake has swallowed this one. A monkey has swallowed that one. And we laugh about it. We make joke of it, and that's all. Nobody is held accountable. No justice. We can't continue like this as a people. Let's arise. It's time to arise and deal with our issues. Let's hold our leaders to account. When they are not performing well, let's hold them to account and send them back. Because we put them there to serve us. Not to loot and perpetuate poverty, unemployment, social injustice. That's not what we want. And now, did I mention that Nigeria has become a consumer economy? Like steady, we have taken that seat. We now consume and consume. We do not manufacture. We are a consumer-based economy. So we import everything. Down to chewing stick, we import. You finish eating food, and then with imported chewing stick, you are picking your teeth. We are destroying ourselves. We are not doing ourselves any good. We import and import and import. We do not manufacture in this country at the scale that we ought to. And that's because the social infrastructure that we need is lacking. Poor electricity power supply. Epileptic. Entrepreneurs are struggling every day to remain in business. Poor power supply. Poor road networks. So the poor farmer who produces from his farm cannot move his produce to the market. Our value chain, our agricultural value chain is poor. No value addition. When they produce, it's either we consume and then leave the rest to perish. We can't continue like this. If we need to command the economic power that we ought to be on this continent, then we have to push for an economy that is manufacturing and exporting, not importing and consuming. And they will begin to command economic power. This place will become bearable. This place will become habitable for people. We lift people out of poverty because there will be jobs for people. People will not have the need to die in the Mediterranean Sea, going in search of greener pastures elsewhere. We have to water our own pastures here so that we can retain our people. We can retain the skills we have and command economic power. Now, that said, I would like to end with this quote from Chinua Achebe, making reference to this Igbo cosmological belief that when a man says yes, his chi, that's his personal God, says yes. This simply means that if we as Nigerians, as Africans, resolve to push for the prosperity and the unity of Nigeria and Africa above every sentiment that we have, then we begin to mobilize our will and all of our resources to see that this objective is actualized. God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa.